Hi, everybody. I'm sorry I'm a few minutes late, but there was a request to add the Sony Marvel announcement to this live stream. So I did. So it took me a few minutes to swap out the graphics and to change up all the metadata. However, I will try to cover the Quiet Place news on tomorrow's stream because there wasn't a stream Tuesday or Wednesday, so the streams are today and tomorrow. Lots of reviews coming out in the next 48 hours. Lots of reviews coming out as well. So thanks, everybody. Thank you for joining me. It's so nice to see everybody. Oh, thank you, Danny. This is a new shirt. I wore it for my reviews today. Wow, it's early in Australia, Ellie. Thanks. I'm glad I could wake up with you. But it's so nice to see everybody. We have 3 really good stories to go over today. And the way it always works, I fixed the boop. I fixed the boop from Monday. I'm so glad you guys like this shirt. This shirt is from Johnny Was. I treated myself. All the Johnny Was stuff looks kind of similar, but I like it. And they had some cool things that I liked. I have a new other shirt that I'm planning to hopefully debut for Movie Math on Sunday. All right, so I don't like to say what I'm going to review in advance because then it doesn't happen sometimes or gets delayed, and then I feel you guys get disappointed. So I feel bad about that. But anyway, yes, so everything's fixed. Hey, Reed, welcome back. Let me welcome the other people. Welcome, Claire Sabelle. Oh, that's a nice photo of you. I love when I get to see you guys. Nice to see everybody. Hey, hat guy. That's great. I'm not sure when I'm going to wear my new glasses, Jose, but I'm impressed that you remembered about my new glasses. My new glasses are bold, so I gotta work up to that. All right. Yes, that's right, Mika. That is Johnny Was. Yeah. It's a little more. Sometimes I usually buy. Oh, thanks, Ray. I usually buy my stuff like fast fashion because I want to switch out shirts and wear different stuff all the time. But occasionally, I treat myself and I add something to my long-term wardrobe. And I did not get my hair done. I'm getting better at doing my own hair. I'm working very hard at it. Lots going on. Hey, Gabriel Ortiz. All right, so as usual, we'll do the 3 stories of the day, and then for the final 10 minutes of the stream, you may ask me anything that you would like. I'll still keep the Tom Ford glasses. Don't worry about that, but I might swap these in occasionally. Let's see what you guys think of them. I don't know if you're going to like them. Hey, Pacific Coast Highness. They are similar to a pair of glasses I had in high school, and my drama teacher laughed at them. I'll never forget it. He thought that they were for a play that we were doing, and I did, in his defense, want to wear them as my character, but they were also my everyday glasses, and he laughed. And it was mean, Jennifer. It was mean. But let's see. They're German colorful sunglasses. They're really out there. They're very crazy. But I like them. I thought it was funny that when I was in high school, I felt they were too much. But then I've grown up to become an adult, and I bought them on my own. When my mother suggested I purchase them as a teenager, I was like, these are nuts. These are too much. And now that I'm an adult, I'm like, I like them. Hey, Morgan says, why won't Amazon? Morgan, you're getting ahead of the story, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much. But yes, the Sony Marvel series headline is very misleading. I believe intentionally so. All right, so let's get going. Thank you guys. I really appreciate your very nice comments. It's very hard to make sure you're always camera ready. I stress out about it a lot. So your comments are very appreciated. All right, so story number 1. Hold on, time to boop, baby. Boop. All right, this was actually announced. When was this? Tuesday or Monday? I think it was Tuesday. But I was busy. Man. I'm making all those other videos. Try to balance. I know you guys like the live stream so much. I enjoy the live stream so much, but I'm trying to make sure I still do regular videos as well. So, yes. So anyway, Walter Hamada. Oh, thanks, Alex. Oh, that's adorable. That's a very cute sticker. I love these animated stickers. I haven't seen that one yet. That's very cute. So Walter Hamada, as someone who just said that, someone just said something about, that's right, Mika. Walter Hamada got himself a parachute, and he parachuted out of the burning debris that is Warner Brothers Discovery right now. By the way, I'd like to add that all 3 stories today focus on Asian talent in front of and behind the camera. So I think that's really great. People are looking for representation for multiple groups. Doesn't always seem like everybody's getting a shot. Hey, Juan. So I think it's really nice to kind of see this today. So I think that's really great. All right, so Walter Hamada, I think this is a complex situation, and I'm looking forward to discussing it with you. So Walter Hamada, where has he gone? He's gone to Paramount, and he's going to be working specifically on horror, which is really how he made a name for himself in the first place. Now, Paramount, of course, just had a very big hit with Smile. They also had Scream earlier this year, but Smile was a really big hit for them. It dominated the Halloween movie-going season. It crossed the century mark during the pandemic. It just went out on digital, where I think it's doing quite well in addition. And it was the only horror movie in theaters for the holiday Halloween season that managed to make $100 million in theaters. So I think Paramount smells money. They're like, wow, could we do this again? So they're building up their horror division, and that is going to be run by Mr. Walter Hamada. He will start there on January 1st, and his directive is to produce small and medium budget horror films that I think can be released theatrically, and also, of course, on Paramount Plus, on their streaming service. So, I think that's a pretty good job. I think that's right, Brendan. 2 stories today about horror. So I think this works out pretty well for Walter Hamada, and I think he's actually a very good choice for this. We'll talk about his controversy in a minute. But Walter Hamada became famous at Warner Brothers. He was a company guy, but then he became famous running Warner Brothers' horror division. He made James Wan a household name along with Jason Blum. But Walter Hamada is very responsible for James Wan's success. And the whole reason he got the DC gig is that he went over to DC with James Wan and ran DC. Now, it didn't go very well. I think he did inherit an absolute mess, to his credit. The films that he did produce, like Aquaman, made $1 billion, and The Flash, which was supposed to be like the first thing that he really was in charge of, is testing very well. And we find that all ridiculous to believe, considering Ezra Miller is the face of that movie, but for some reason it's still testing well. That's all thanks to Walter Hamada. And he got the best deal so far coming out of the old Warner Brothers regime. So he's actually done the best. And I think that's because he has a lot of friends in the industry. I've heard nothing but complaints about Toby Emmerich from a number of creatives, producers, directors, and writers. They all had a problem with Toby Emmerich. But for the most part, people really liked Walter Hamada. They thought he did a really good job as an executive. In fact, a great gift to him was that the screenwriter for the original Shazam movie, yes, he also worked on it. He guided it. But the screenwriter, let's see here, Pedro says, in the midst of so much divisiveness in the world, I just wanted to say that even though I strongly disagree with you about Elon Twitter, that doesn't stop me from loving your content and appreciating what you do. Thanks, Pedro. Yeah, agree to disagree. I try to keep it civil. There are some things, that I speak out about because I feel they just have to be spoken about. But, I think, I try to keep it real, and I try to keep it polite and positive for the most part. So, Pedro, I think that was a very nice comment, and I appreciate that we can still be pals, even though we don't agree on everything. All right, so back to Walter Hamada. The screenwriter for Shazam said that Walter Hamada is the one who suggested that instead of Billy Batson's parents being dead, that they, in fact, his mother was alive, that Billy finds her, and she doesn't want him. And that, as the screenwriter admitted, turned out to be a really strong emotional beat in the film. In the past couple of years, studio executives have gotten a very bad rap with fans because creatives have been airing their grievances with them on social media. And, and I have to be honest, in some cases, they were pretty serious grievances. But there are good studio executives out there, and studio executives are really your editors. And they're supposed to edit things, and they're supposed to keep an eye and look out for the best interests of the studio. And it really is a series of checks and balances. And when it works, it really works when you have a good studio executive. And a number of people, I believe, think that Walter Hamada is a good studio executive. Now, he made one mistake, as Anthony pointed out. And it was a huge mistake, to be fair. Walter Hamada never should have called Ray Fisher up and privately asked him to drop the pressure off of Jeff Johns. And he never should have done that because Jeff Johns is a horrible person who ruined many people's careers. Now Walter Hamada's, it seems, or at least got him fired from DC. And it was just a very, very bad situation, And also, no one had ever shared anything like that publicly before. and Ray Fisher made a very controversial, but I think understandable decision to go public with that, particularly because of the damage that's been done to Ray Fisher's career. But Walter Hamada, it's, I think, definitely very fair to say, never should have done that. And he will be haunted by fans for the rest of his career, no matter where he goes. And it's going to really hurt him from being able to put his name and have any ownership of his projects, even at Paramount. So I really feel that Walter Hamada, it would be in Walter Hamada's best interests to fix this. Now, the only way I can see him fixing this, well, there's two ways that can go. Now, the ideal way would be to reach out to Ray Fisher and realize that probably every single thing that he says to Ray Fisher will be made public. But I think Walter Hamada also has to be careful that Walter Hamada doesn't want to get sued. He doesn't want to get sued for lost wages by Ray Fisher. So that puts him in a really difficult spot. But it would be great if Hamada could say, hey, Ray Fisher, would you like to star, as Sam Robinson is pointing out, would you like to star in one of my horror movies at Paramount? And that would be ideal. If you could trust these things to remain back channel, and you could talk to Ray Fisher's team, and this would all be private, and then you could emerge with, we've buried the hatchet, and Ray Fisher is going to star in a really exciting horror project for Paramount, I think that would be great for everybody. Because, Ray Fisher's not getting a lot of work either. He's in the new Zack Snyder movie, but he can't get any studio work. But I don't know if Ray Fisher would do that because Ray Fisher, as Josh said, he's never going to work with them. Ray Fisher, I think, is really still very personally devastated by this. But does Ray Fisher really want this to follow him around forever? Especially since I don't think that it's ever going to get resolved in a fashion that would suit Ray Fisher in that regard. I don't think that either of these two gentlemen want this to define their careers. So, and that's really the case for why a lot of things in Hollywood get worked out. It's difficult. Every case has to be looked at individually. But it's really it's a difficult situation. Now, if that doesn't work out, and I don't think that it will, because I don't think Ray Fisher would go for it. And I understand why Ray Fisher wouldn't go for it, even though I would advise him to. I think the real issue, I think the other possible thing that he could do, Walter Hamada, would be to hire other talent of color and to get them to back him. Now, you always run the risk that they could say, we only backed Walter Hamada because he gave us a movie deal, but he's just as bad as Ray Fisher said he was. Because, Ray Fisher at first was very supportive of the new leadership at DC. So it's difficult. And that's true, Danny. Would Ray Fisher's peers give him work? It's really difficult. You'd have to find somebody who, but Ray Fisher is the only person who has a problem with Walter Hamada. This isn't a Joss Whedon, Jeff Johns situation where there is a huge list of people who have problems with this individual. The only person that and by the way, rightfully so, I want to make it clear, Ray Fisher is right to have a problem with Walter Hamada because Walter Hamada never should have made that call, even if he felt it was going to stay private. That was a horrible thing to do, and it wasn't worth it because Jeff Johns is a horrible person. So I can't believe that Walter Hamada, he ended up not dying on that hill, but he took a significant hit. And for nothing. For absolutely nothing. So, but I think it would be difficult to attract talent of color because of what happened with Ray Fisher. But I think, there's a lot of talent out there. If he could find talent of color with a great script who wants to maybe write direct, I think that maybe it could work out. But I think Walter Hamada really needs to fix this because it's never going to go away. I think Walter Hamada might feel it'll go away. It's never going to go away. Now, it'll never, ever go totally away. Someone will always put a comment on social media. Someone will always bring it up. But you kind of have to just sway public opinion to the point where everybody else is like, we don't care anymore. Or we care, but we feel that it's been corrected as best as possible. Maidu says, I've been watching you since Indie Mogul. That means so much. I just wanted to say hi, always rooting for you. That's so kind of you. I really appreciate that, Maidu. Thank you very much. What do you think? Let's do a poll. All right, so let's put a poll in here about Walter Hamada. What are your thoughts on Walter Hamada? All right, number one is he got fired from DC. That's enough. 2 is I will never, ever forgive him. And then 3 is if he does a bit more, I can meet, no, let's see, can meet halfway. Okay, I had to abbreviate that. All right, ask the community. There it goes. I had to abbreviate it because they don't give me a lot of space. Dylan, hey Dylan, says Paramount is on fire with horror this year. Fingers crossed Hamada continues their strongholds. He needs to say something though. But remember, Dylan, he doesn't want to get sued, which I think puts him in that really difficult spot. I think that, Ray Fisher could sue him for loss of wages and discrimination if Walter Hamada admitted to wrongdoing publicly, to be honest with you. And I think any reconciliation with Ray Fisher would require a signed legal document that said he wouldn't sue him. Because, right now Walter Hamada can hide behind that investigation, that internal investigation that cleared him. But Ray Fisher could definitely sue him if he were to admit publicly that he had a problem. Josh, Ray Fisher, we're discussing Ray Fisher because we're wondering if Walter Hamada can ever escape what happened with there. So you guys are voting. We'll give it a few more, like a minute or so. I think it's interesting that overwhelmingly you guys feel that he paid the price by being fired from D.C. He was fired from D.C. and he was raked across the coals. And, the question is, was that enough? I mean, it was pretty bad. I happen to know that, I've heard through my sources, and no, I do not know Walter Hamada or Toby Emmerich, which is so stupid. But Walter Hamada's family, his children and stuff, and as well as other Warner Brothers executives, were harassed and threatened online. Bruce Wayne says Walter Hamada definitely needs to make amends with the black community. I think that's true, Bruce Wayne. I think that's a great way to put it. I don't know if he can ever make amends with Ray Fisher, but he definitely needs to make amends with the black community. He needs black talent behind and or in front of the camera to support him, or he'll never move forward. All right, so let's see here. We'll just give it another minute. All right, so we'll get to 550 votes. So 6 more people have to vote. Come on, you can do it. 6 more votes. I think you can only vote if you're a member, right? Oh, you did pass it. That's great. Wow, Tovi. That is incredible. Let me take a moment to thank Tovi. My donation for Happy Holidays to you and your family. Oh, wow. Happy Holidays to you too, Tovi. That is incredibly generous of you. I really appreciate it. So kind of you. Thank you so much. All right, so I will be okay says, I think Ray needs to accept any deal because no one else is standing by him. Plus, Ray has always seemed to have well, it's difficult to talk about this stuff with Ray Fisher because it's so emotional. It's dealing with very charged subjects. Ray Fisher did break industry protocol in that he discussed these things publicly. I think it's difficult for any talent that will discuss behind-the-scenes discussions publicly because nobody knows if they would be safe. But I do think that what was done to Ray Fisher was really bad, particularly by Jeff Johns. What Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon did to Ray Fisher was appalling. And I think the reason that Ray Fisher spoke out, as you might recall, is that the investigation did not go in his favor, even though those things clearly were done to him. So I can understand how that's so infuriating for Ray Fisher. But let's see how Rebel Moon does. Let's see. I mean, Ray Fisher was incredible in the Zack Snyder cut. I mean, he was incredible in that movie, which made it all the more tragic how he was treated. All right, we're going to end the poll. Here it comes. The majority of you, almost 60%, feel that Walter Hamada has done his time. I think I'm actually in the lowest category there. Oh, no, I'm in the second with 33%. He needs to do a bit more. I think he needs to do a bit more. 9%, never forgive him, is pretty darn good for Walter Hamada. I think Walter Hamada can feel good about that. I think Walter Hamada can feel very good about that, quite frankly. But I do feel that Walter Hamada needs to reach out to more black talent. I think he's not quite there yet, but I think this poll shows that he can get there. Which is, I think Walter Hamada, he made one mistake. That's the thing. Jeff Johns and Joss Whedon made mistake after mistake after mistake, and it was appalling how they treated not just Ray Fisher, but a lot of people. Walter Hamada made one mistake with that phone call. He made one bad mistake, and he can't really apologize for it because he'll get sued. So it's really a bad spot. He's in a bad spot. And so I think this is the best possible outcome he could have hoped for. And so let's see what he comes up with. And I'll be curious to see what talent goes to work with him. All right, so that's the first story of the day. That was a fun story. I thought that turned out really great. I was a little nervous about it because it's such a controversial subject matter, but I think it worked out pretty darn good. All right, story, well, Ulk is like one mistake that we know about. Well, you could say that about every single person on the face of the earth. I think to be honest with you, Ulk, of course you never know for sure, but Ray Fisher was so aggressive and so public about it. I think for other Walter Hamada stories, they would have come out. They would have come out by now. People would have jumped on that bandwagon. I mean, people would have been itching for the story. So I don't think, and I know that people have defended Walter Hamada. I don't think that's true. It really is Jeff Johns. I'm telling you, Jeff Johns, I've spoken to people who've directly dealt with Jeff Johns and have described him as the psychopath. All right, so second story, I'm just telling you what I was told very emphatically. All right, story number 2. Boop. Hey, Mike K. All right, so speaking of talent, everybody wants a horror division because horror is so lucrative. It's always been lucrative, but it's never been hotter. Not only in the theatrical space, but also on streaming. Ryan Murphy is making a lot of money for Netflix. So James Wan and Jason Blum are like, holy crap, we were pioneers in the modern horror age, yet we are falling behind. So to try and correct that, these two guys are merging their companies, but in a very interesting, non-exciting way. All right, so James Wan, as I pointed out, was somebody that Walter Hamada made famous. Walter Hamada made James Wan famous. Thanks, Mike. And then he came over to DC with James Wan and helped make the Aquaman movie. And the Aquaman movie, of course, was the only current DC movie to make $1 billion. And that was, very, very good. Very good. Too bad. I think Amber Heard destroyed that franchise. Because remember how hot it was? Although everybody always forgets that Aquaman made $1 billion, which I always find, even I forget it, which I find quite amusing. Now, Wan, I think, because he went over to DC, has hurt his horror brand. He has not stayed 100% in horror, and so I think that people have forgotten about James Wan to some degree in this space. I liked Aquaman too. Very good movie. And the question is, will he continue? Will James Wan continue with DC after Aquaman 2, which is taking forever to come out? And of course, it's being dragged down by Amber Heard, who I know that, Peter Safran is like all in on Amber Heard. That's fascinating. You want to see James Gunn and Peter Safran destroy themselves? Watch them keep Amber Heard in DC. I think the question is, Peter Safran and James Gunn are very specific in the way they act towards women, personally and professionally. Like when I heard they were going to make a Amber Heard series for Mira before the whole thing blew up with Johnny Depp, that was going to come from Peter Safran. So I don't know if Peter Safran, and I know James Wan really got along with Amber Heard. So I don't know if, Amber Heard has gotten along with everyone she's worked with. Amber Heard, I do not like what happened with Johnny Depp. And as I've said many, many times at this point, they both are to blame. However, I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Amber Heard professionally, except for the fact that nobody will pay to see her in most parts. And I thought she did a very good job as Mira, to be honest with you. I thought she was a good Mira. It's a very difficult situation. But I think that I think that it'll be interesting to see if they continue with her. So, if she's even in Aquaman 2. They were trying to really cut that part down. But I'm not sure what they eventually decided to do because, it's in post forever. Just like The Flash. These movies have been in post for years. If they can remain okay, I'll be amazed because once you start cutting up something that much and looking at it so many times, I think you lose all perspective. Yikes. All right. So anyway, at one point when Aquaman made $1 billion, people were like, maybe James Wan should make the Justice League movie. But I've said before, I think James Wan has a similar sensibility to James Gunn. They certainly have the same hairstyle. So I could see them getting along really well, to be honest with you. So I could see James Wan staying in the DC family. But then what's he going to do about horror? Sean says, Amber Heard will be the downfall for DC, especially with Aquaman. Why Johnny Depp kicked out of Pirates, but Heard gets to stay with... Well, they're different studios, Sean. Pirates is Disney and this is Warner Brothers. We'll see what happens. But it is bad. It is bad. I think the unfairness of it is what bothers a lot of people. But I think James Wan is very talented. I think he's a great filmmaker, but I think he's having a little bit of a brand issue. Now, they're going to merge Blumhouse and Atomic Monster. Atomic Monster is the name of James Wan's production company. And Atomic Monster currently has a deal at Warner Brothers while Blumhouse is at Universal. That's why they're standing in the Universal lot in front of the Psycho House, which I thought was a cute picture, which is why I used it for today's live stream. Now, Atomic Monster will then merge with Blumhouse. That's right, Malignant was an amazing movie. I loved Malignant. I really was pushing that hard. I didn't even think it was going to be good. And I was like, what a movie. So anyway, and that was at Warner Brothers. But now Atomic Monster is going to move over to Universal with Blumhouse. But this is the weird thing. They're going to still be separate creatively. You're like, what? Then why are you merging? Well, apparently they're merging. I would think, they haven't been clear why they're merging, but it seems to be that they're merging, I think, to cut down on operating costs. Like, they might creatively be separate, but that's just what James Wan and Jason Blum want to do, and maybe one or two creative executives that they both retain. In terms of assistants and office space on the lot, on Universal's lot, etc., it'll all be, they can all be under literally one roof, and so it'll bring down operating expenses. So that's probably what they're doing. And also they said they want to increase content. They want to really, that's funny. Aaliyah, it is like a married couple that sleeps in different bedrooms. That's hilarious. And they want to increase their content output. They want to make more movies, more streaming shows, and they feel, I don't know why they could do it together better, but James Wan isn't as prolific as Blumhouse is. Blumhouse, on the other hand, I have to tell you, I think is a little too prolific. So maybe they feel it'll even out. But I do feel that both Blum and Wan are losing out on the hold they had on horror. Warner Brothers and Paramount are now huge horror machines, factories. Jordan, and even Disney got into it with Barbarian over from Fox. And Jordan Peele is now a big name in horror, and Guillermo del Toro. Where's James Wan in this space? Making Aquaman 2 for years. That's where he is. Blum has also faltered with Firestarter and, as you guys are pointing out, the Halloween trilogy. I'll try and do the Lupita Nyong'o story tomorrow, Snowman. People really wanted this other story, so I had to be switched out. Reed says, do you think we can get some horror crossovers like back in the day with Freddy versus Jason? I don't know. I mean, I think that Halloween went so poorly, I think it's going to make people a little bit nervous. We'll see. But I also want to point out that Jason Blum produced The Black Phone from Scott Derrickson, and that was an incredibly well-made film, like a really, really good movie. I think that would be great. I think that Jason Blum still has it, but I think, as I said, I think he's too prolific. I think that's his issue. So let's see what happens. Mika says, does Atomic Monster's horror IP stay with Warner Brothers? Yes. Anything that was made for Warner Brothers, like The Conjuring and stuff, stays over at Warner Brothers. But anything new that they do would be somewhere else. Dane says, my boyfriend who isn't a cinephile knows Blumhouse and says, yep, let's go with Blumhouse. It's a safe choice. Really, Dane? Has your boyfriend seen their latest offerings? I'd be a little nervous about that. Is that why you guys are asking about Mortal Kombat? Because James Wan is a producer on it? That's a Warner Brothers brand. They own that because they own NetherRealm Studios. So that's not going to go anywhere. I mean, so James Wan will still be in business with Warner Brothers to some degree. All right, so that's the second story of the day. Yes, by the way, Megan for, I think that's Warner Brothers. No, that's Universal. Megan is Universal about that doll, that American Girl doll who's crazy. I really am curious to see how they filmed that. By Newswriter. But that's actually the first, one of the most recent joint projects that Blumhouse and Atomic Monster have done. And James Wan helped dream up that idea. And it's, of course, from one of the screenwriters from Malignant. So I'm pretty excited. I think Megan's going to be really big. All right, so that's this. It's really made for social media. And it's certainly delivered on that end. All right, so third story of the day. Boom, baby. So there's a big headline that dropped just right before we went live. And that's that the Sony Marvel shows have found a home. And yet Variety was extremely misleading with their headline, which I think got some of you more excited than you should be. So Variety said Amazon is the new home for the Sony Marvel shows, but that's not totally true. they're going to be making multiple live-action Sony Marvel shows, but don't forget that Amazon owns MGM, and they've made this deal to prop up MGM Plus, which is what Epix becomes on like January 15th. So these shows from Sony Marvel are going to debut on MGM Plus. What? There's a good way to get nobody to watch something. They're going to air on MGM Plus domestically in the United States, and then they'll eventually go to Prime Video Global, but not at release. Not at release, maybe to combat to combat piracy. You know, Pennyworth was on Epix, and nobody was watching that, and they moved it over to HBO Max to try and get more people to watch it. So that's kind of the situation that you've got here. So the very first show that's going to come out is the Silk Show. Remember, they've been working on that for a long time. Cindy Moon is part of the Spider family. And I mean, I don't really know if this is a good idea, to be honest with you. I think that's why they're putting it at MGM Plus, and that's because Amazon already has their superheroes, and that's, of course, The Boys and Invincible. I think they're already set, and The Boys is doing a spin-off show already. So I don't really want them to bring in the Sony Marvel stuff and dilute their superhero brand. They have Seth Rogen's superhero space. Seth Rogen produces all those shows. He produces The Boys, and he produces Invincible. So I'm like, that's your space. You know, leave it alone. It's really great, and it's very authentic and different than the other places. So bringing in like bad Sony Marvel shows to me seems absolutely ridiculous. Some of you are saying CW, like Marco just said CW. That to me sounds like a pretty good similarity. You know, I don't have very much faith in these at all, and I don't like that Sony's continuing to do Spider-Man-less Spider-Man content. If Spider-Man isn't in it, why on earth would anybody be interested in that? I mean, it just seems really crazy to me. And I gotta tell you, Silk as a comic book character has never done particularly well. So I'm not really sure who's going to show up for this. So as far as other Spider-Man characters go, I mean, of course, there's Miles Morales, who we all love for the animated movie. And hopefully someday soon will be in live action, although Sony would have to do him, which makes me nervous. And then I always really liked what they did with the Clone Saga in the Ultimate Spider-Man story, where it was a female clone, and that was Jessica Drew. So it was a female clone of Peter Parker, and she was drawn to really look like a female version of the character, which I thought was really interesting, to meet a different gender version of yourself. I thought that was really cool. So I think this is just going to be a mess, and I just think it's going to make more of a really bad web of content. Get it? Web of content for Sony Marvel. And I think that Amazon is purely just doing this to get anybody to watch MGM Plus, to be honest with you. And I don't think who here is going to get MGM Plus so they can watch this stuff? Yes, Tenerife, that was what Silk was best known for, that she secretes a pheromone that made Peter Parker very attracted to her. Yeah, I can't see anyone doing this. Some of you are going to pirate it. I don't even know how much MGM Plus is, Mike. I'm not even sure how you would get it. I guess it's an app. But I mean, I already have way too many streaming services at this point. But wow. Yeah, Amazon owns MGM, Mandela Butterfly. That's why they own James Bond. So, tough space, man. Tough space. All right, so those are the 3 stories of the day. Thank you very much. It is 4:10. You can ask me anything you'd like until 4:20. Woohoo! And then I will do shout-outs, and then I must go. Who would I cast as Silk Joy? I forget the name of that younger actress who was on Mrs. Maisel and Everything Everywhere All at Once. I think her name is Stephanie. I would cast her. I think that's the only way I could get anybody to pay attention to that show. But is she Korean? Because, it's a Korean character. Maleka, my Glass Onion review will come out later today. Juan, I'm not sure about, I think I already did the Young Avengers discussion with the end credit scene. Thank you, Matthew. I already did that in that video. I'm not sure about an Ironheart video. I might wait for just the Ironheart like trailers to start coming out because I have a lot of other stuff that I'm going to be doing instead. Let's see here. Mika says Zaslav says there won't be 4 Batman. Thought? Well, let's see. I think Zazzy says whatever he needs to say in the moment. But let's see this stuff actually happen. Thanks, Nacho. Are the rumors true of Robert Pattinson as the new official Batman of James Gunn's DC Studios? I'll look into that. I have not heard that. That would, of course, make me quite happy. Although I want James Gunn to stay out of Matt Reeves' space because they have such different tonal stuff. Let's see. You know, James Gunn has yet to make a character trend. He's been tweeting out characters, but none of them have been able to trend on Twitter. If he tweeted out Poison Ivy, it would trend. Hey, Paul, any thoughts on freshman year being in trouble? I have not heard that, so I cannot speak to that. All right, Aaliyah says, what is your reaction to Strange World? Yes, it's hard. As I told you, I don't like to hate on stuff. I'd rather just not discuss it. I would describe, remember the Cheaper by the Dozen movie that came out on Disney Plus earlier this year? Strange World is the animated version of that. It's just too bland and checks too many boxes. So in the end of the day, it doesn't really check anything. Max Kiddo says, if they ever brought Kitty Pryde into the MCU, what would you think about Jenna Ortega? I love Jenna Ortega, but Kitty Pryde is a Jewish character. Is Jenna Ortega Jewish? I think that, you must cast a Jewish actress in that role. Let's see here. It will be okay, says, is Feige waiting to cast the MCU X-Men until after Secret Wars? I know they're not going to show up until after Secret Wars, but he might cast somebody like right before that. But he's not, I think he's, Kevin Feige has so much on his plate right now, and a lot of it is correcting stuff. I don't think he's thinking too much about the X-Men right now. I mean, he still has to finalize the Fantastic Four cast, for Pete's sake. Philip, I haven't heard anything about Arcane Season 2, I'm afraid. Liam says, will the MCU ever get better? Oh, well, it's tough. I think it was. I think Wakanda Forever is an improvement, but some people don't agree. So I think it's in a tough spot right now. Let's see what the Fantastic Four casting is. Melissa, that's so kind of you. I can't wait to see your new glasses. Question from a fellow glasses wearer. Oh, hello, fellow glasses wearer. Are you going to review She Said? Probably not, because it's a smaller film, but I did talk about it on Movie Math, and I really encouraged people to go see it because I think it's such a strong film. I saw some really horrendous reactions to it on social media, though, so I really don't think it's going to get a fair chance, which is too bad because it's such a good movie. Jennifer says, what do you think is going to happen with Black Adam and Dwayne Johnson's fate in the DCEU? I think he's out of there and he knows it, which is why he's flirting with Marvel on social media already, which was hilarious, by the way. I was like, whoa, man, why don't you go through back channels like everybody else? Hey, Zaylin. Although I don't think Marvel could take him. It would be just so embarrassing. And also he proved that he can't move the needle on a project in theaters. I mean, who goes to Marvel with their calling card being an underperforming blockbuster film? Ruben says, have you seen Interview? I've not seen Interview with the Vampire yet. I feel bad. So many of you have recommended it. But I am encouraged that so many of you are talking about it. I hope that it did well. I have not. What service is it on? I've yet to see it pop up in Nielsen, but I think it's on AMC Plus, and I don't think Nielsen covers AMC Plus. Awesomely Authentic says Paramount has so many brands from the 90s Nickelodeon shows. Any hope to see them utilized on Paramount Plus? Well, they were supposed to do a Rugrats thing, right? I think that they're in a weird space, and I think that they don't advertise stuff enough. I think Paramount needs to work. I think Paramount, by the way, I heard they're trying to sell themselves. They're trying to have somebody buy Paramount. So I think that that's kind of where a lot of their focus is right now. And then, of course, maybe the Avatar shows could be helpful. But, I think that Paramount just isn't as aggressive in the advertising space as they should be. Reed says, anything on Scream 6? I have not heard anything on Scream 6, I'm afraid. Sean says, who in Glass Onion do you think is more likely to win an Oscar? I think Kate Hudson is most likely to... Well, Rian Johnson, I think, will maybe win an Oscar for screenplay. You tricked me. I'll tell you this very quickly. But I think Kate Hudson is a strong contender for at least a nomination. Voice Inject, I did like Elodie Young's Elektra, but I think the MCU can do better. H2 says, why couldn't Sony discuss their ideas with Kevin Feige before doing crazy movies? Also, whatever happened to the Kraven the Hunter solo movie? They filmed it. Let's see what it looks like. I think it's gonna be bad. I think that Sony feels they know what they're doing, and that's always a problem, and they so clearly do not. Although, how did the animated movie turn out so good? And then the live action stuff is such garbage. It's very disheartening. Let's see here. Sabian says, hey Grace, do you think young T'Challa is a mutant in the MCU since his father was enhanced by the heart-shaped herb? No, I think that would complicate things. I think that he is a member of the Wakandan royal family and all that entails. I think T'Challa Jr. Purely exists to take over the Black Panther mantle in the near future. Marvelous says, in Phase 4 of the MCU, if Phase 4 of the MCU is the trauma phase, do you think Phase 5 will be the redemption phase for Bucky, Yelena, Agatha, and Namor? I think Phase 5 is going to be the vibranium phase, based on what I've been hearing. I don't know. Let's see. Michael says, eggnog. No, I do not like eggnog. I hate eggnog. Not a fan. I've never really had more than... It's like tastes like bubble gum to me, and I don't like bubble gum. So I'm not a fan of that. Dancing Dog 60, I don't know when Star Trek... They keep losing all their directors. They lost Quentin Tarantino. They lost Matt Shackman. But I think that brand's is in very bad shape. Devin Henderson says, if the MCU develops a shared story again, do you think... Star Trek's doing very well on Paramount Plus, by the way. It's doing very well there. Devin says, if the MCU develops a shared story again, do you think a lot of their criticisms will be resolved? I feel a lot would be forgiven. Yes, I do think so. I think the lack of a common goal that all the movies and shows are working towards is sorely missed. Sam Shugart says, just saw the menu and I loved it. I don't think I'm going to be reviewing the menu, Sam. I think it's too small. But I'm surprised to hear that you liked it so much. That looks like a streaming movie to me for sure. They're really pushing it for awards because I'm a Critics' Choice member. So I see what they're pushing for awards and I'm like, the menu? Really? I don't know. Mika, I forgot that CCXP was coming up. I'll have to see what they're doing, what the panels are. But I can't imagine they're doing anything unless James Gunn flew down there, which would be interesting. Nobody loves DC like Brazil. Hey, Liam. Any news about the Narnia reboot on Netflix? Well, they just talked about the fact that Greta Gerwig might do it. So I thought that was good. Let's see here. Matthew says, will you review Strange World? Matthew, I will not review Strange World. I don't think I'm going to review it. I did interview the filmmakers. That review should go up sometime in the next 48 hours or so. But I just, I did not care for the movie. Oh, that's great that The Last of Us will be at CCXP. They are going to eat Pedro Pascal up with a spoon. Let's see here. Patrick, I haven't heard anything about Daredevil being rated mature, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised. Ivan, I have not seen the holiday special yet. I think it went out to just a few people who were doing interviews for it. So I will be seeing it early next week, and I'll certainly be reviewing it and breaking it down. Zara, I love the idea that Quentin Tarantino is going to move into the streaming space, but I'm curious to see what the network is, what the streaming service is, what the property is, but I certainly am going to be keeping an eye on that, and I'll cover it when we get more details. Akshat said, are you going to watch Dead to Me Season 3? At some point, but it's not a huge priority for me. I got my screener for Banshees of Inisherin, so I'm going to watch that tonight. I don't think that I'm going to... maybe I'll do like a live stream where I talk about all of the awards films. Maybe I'll do that. But I want to see these movies so I can vote for them as a Critics' Choice member and also better cover them for you. When I do the who should win, who will win. It helps when you've seen the movies. But I think I'll watch Dead to Me at some point. Aaron says, hey Grace, love the channel. Do you think the incoming Vibranium War will lead to the introduction of adamantium? I think that's a very good guess, Aaron. And it would make a lot of sense. I haven't actually heard that. I know some other scoopers have heard it, supposedly. But it makes sense to me. It's fun to put all the pieces together of what we all individually hear. Let's see here. Caden, I wanted to see Devotion, but I just don't have the time. And I just don't think that it's... I think that to me is something where I'm like, I'd like to see the screener. And I love Jonathan Majors. Tristan says, do you think Namor deserves a solo project? I heard they'd like to do something, But everything's on the table right now. They're like, should we give him a movie? 1 second, Elliot. Should we give him a movie? Should we give him a series? Should we give him a special, special presentation? So he's going to come somewhere. Oh, I see. Hey, Caleb. H. Tiz says, could Captain America 4 and the Thunderbolts movie be the Siege storyline, but instead of Asgard, it's Wakanda? That could, I haven't heard that that's what it is, but, I wouldn't be surprised. Carlos says, how likely are we to see Moon Knight again, either series or film? It's taking me so long to make my thing. I'll just do it. I'll just tell you now. I heard that Moon Knight is going to be an Avenger. So, pretty exciting. I'll save it for what project for my video. But I did hear that at least as of right now, the next time you see Moon Knight, he will probably be an Avenger. Let's see. Where's Elliot? Elliot, I don't see your thing. Let's see here. Elliot, did it disappear? Juan, I missed this one. What would you say to people who think Hollywood is all maxed out of superheroes? I think Hollywood is maxed out on superheroes, to be honest with you. I think they need to slow their roll. I think there's just too many projects because every studio wants their own stuff. And I think even Marvel has too many itself. Oh, Elliot, you're watching the Blue's Clues movie for tomorrow. I'm watching it as a fan of the show. That's great. I've never seen Blue's Clues, but I certainly know it's popular. I didn't even get to see your Moon Knight reactions. Let's see here. But I'm pretty excited about that. I'm not going to review. I'm not even going to see Bones and All, Will. I don't want to see Timothée Chalamet as a cannibal. I'm not into that. Keith says, Anna Diop said she would love to play Storm. Well, I think everyone would love to play Storm, quite frankly. I think Anna Diop is, or Anna Dope, Jope, that's the way to pronounce it. I think she's a really charismatic, great actress, but I think it's going to be hard to jump from Titans on HBO Max to an MCU movie. Kate and I might review Violent Night. Let's see where and when the screening is. It's hard. I have to balance, now that I cover streaming, I'll tell you what my reviews are coming out. Glass Onion, Disenchanted, the embargo lifts at 3 a.m. when the movie drops. And then also tomorrow morning, the Wednesday embargo lifts. So I'll be reviewing the Wednesday series. Josh Loves Movies says, thoughts on the Babylon early reviews? I'm not surprised at all because Margot Robbie, while a very talented actress and producer, has the worst taste in projects ever for herself. Rude Honey Badger says, Grace, could you clarify, will Moon Knight be in the Avengers movie or will he be an Avenger? I heard that a certain person really wanted Moon Knight to be on their Avengers team. Exciting and new. Chad says, Grace, why do people ignore the fact that Amy said we will never see a live-action Miles in her leaked emails? Why did she get away with that? Well, like Walter Hamada, she paid the price. She was fired as the head of Sony. She went through a huge personal crisis, as you can see, because she dramatically changed her appearance. But she clawed her way back, and she's actually done quite well for herself. So I'm curious. I actually never saw that she made that comment in particular. But I think when she made that comment, she never saw how... she produces the Miles Morales animated series. So that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad if she did indeed say that. Oh, Shira Haas landed the Alien lead? That's interesting. I thought they were considering somebody else from what I saw recently. I like Shira Haas. She's really... everybody wondered if she was going to get a lot of stuff. But it seems like it took a while, but she did finally. So that's great. Nick Warner says, do you think James Gunn would bring Ray Fisher back to DC? Also, Fisher is on Broadway with Samuel L. Jackson right now. You should go see it. That's wonderful. I think Ray Fisher is a very talented actor, but I don't think James Gunn is going to bring him back. James Gunn's like, I have enough drama. I do not need somebody else's. It's 4:26. I love talking to you guys so much. I always go over. All right, let me just do some shout outs. Is Heidi Klum in Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? Heidi Klum will destroy people. BT says, hi for Norway. Got my BTC Diamond today. Oh, hooray! I usually don't comment or live chat, but I watch all your videos and I love your content. Thank you, Nilsson. Norway, one of my favorite pavilions at Epcot. I've never actually been there, though. It's so nice to chat with you, and I'm so glad that you got your diamond today. That's fantastic. Thanks for sticking with me. Max says, hey, Grace, I came yesterday and wanted you to know you helped me to be confident enough to do so with your videos and these lives. Oh, it's my pleasure. I think your comment doesn't totally make sense, but I'm glad that I could be helpful to you in some way. Let's see here. Oh, look at KJ welcoming you to the Diamond Club. Oh, that's so sweet. Michael, you finished your Christmas shopping already? That's pretty insane. That's very early. Good for you. I'm just trying to get my Christmas stuff together. Darwin says, at home recovering from my second booster. Get vaccinated, y'all. I agree with you, Darwin. Good for you. You're living up to your name. You're not going to get naturally unselected. That's great. I'm glad you got it. I have all my booster shots. I have so many shots I needed a second card. David Quevedo says, lunch break is over. Great to spend it with you guys. I'm watching Wakanda Forever for the second time tonight with some friends. Oh, have a good time. That's lovely. Ezra says, watching while trying to stay warm on a snowy day in Colorado. Yeah, it sure got cold, didn't it? Went from being so warm here in New York to my needing gloves. I'm like, what the heck happened? Mandela Butterfly says, Christmas shopping, just trying to get Thanksgiving shopping done. Yeah, right? Right? My parents' oven is broken, so I don't know what we're going to do. Let's see here. Danny says, at home, having a great time in your streams as always. Oh, that makes me very happy. Thank you. Zara says, finish the cooking I started at the beginning of the live stream. Sending you love and support from Dubai. Oh, hello, Dubai. What an incredible place. That's great. That's so cool. We kept you company through the whole time. Darnell says, hey, Grace, I've been watching your videos since 2009. Grace versus Movie Critic. You and your daughter love my videos. Hello to your daughter. Oh, that's great. That's so nice. Movies really bring people together, and I'm glad that you are enjoying my videos together. That makes me feel really nice. Jennifer S. Oh, hey, Jennifer. Says, dragging my sister to the theater in an hour to watch Black Adam with me. I hope it's good, or she's going to be so mad. Oh, good luck, Jennifer. I don't think it's a bad movie. I think you should be okay. It's just fun going together. I've apologized to some people, though, about dragging them to comic book movies. Comic Boom says, watching from work. Good times. I love it. I love it. Sam Robinson says, writing from early morning New Zealand, where I'm editing a bunch of podcasts. Your videos inspired me to join the media industry after high school, and I'm having a great time. Oh, that makes me feel so nice, so happy. Sam, congratulations on your exciting new career endeavors, and I'm glad it's going well. That's so cool. There are so many wonderful opportunities in so many different areas of the entertainment business. It always makes me so happy when you guys find your place in it. Let's see here. Danny Dumphy says, getting the house ready for Thanksgiving in chilly South Florida. It's almost down to 70 degrees. The horror, Danny. The horror. Caleb, thank you, Caleb, says, I'm surprised Epix wasn't folded into Prime Video, and I think keeping it separate is a bad idea. What's your take on that? I've talked to people in the industry about that, where I'm like, when I was also saying, like, why don't they just fold HBO and HBO Max into the same thing? And the problem is that this stuff was started in it's old school Hollywood, so there are lots of deals in place. So they can't really shutter these things without reneging on the deals that they have, so it puts them in a really difficult position. Look, Tom's in the Czech Republic. I love the Czech Republic. I have relatives, my family comes from there, celebrating the national holiday with family. Oh, that's great. That's so awesome. Let's see here. And then Jaden says, oh, Jaden, that's a great photo. Watching from drama school in the UK, studying acting and stage screen combat. Wow, that's a cool class. Love watching your streams while doing coursework. Oh, that's so cool. The UK has some of the best drama schools in the world, so congratulations. And I'm good on you for expanding your resume so that you can do stunt work as well. That'll not only give you other options, but it'll make you, I think, more hireable as an actor because you can do your own stunts. You should send your resume to 87 North, the David Leitch and Chad Stahelski's company. Keith says, thank you for the awesome ticket montage last weekend. It was a great way to end my birthday weekend. Oh, I hope you had a great birthday weekend. Oh, Danny, I see your comment there. Thank you. Standing Grace Randolph in Chicago. Thank you. Michael says, East Europe for the win. Lithuania rocks. Yep, Eastern Europe is pretty awesome. Daniel Lee says, just bought tickets to Wakanda Forever for tomorrow. Number 2 for me, but my 12-year-old is seeing it for the first time. Can't wait for him to see Namor as he is Latino. Oh, that's wonderful. I think he'll love Namor. Great character. Joyce is having some ramen whilst watching the stream. I love the whilst. That's great. Max Rollo, did you have another super chat? Where did it go? Sometimes this skips on me. Oh, yes, I saw it. You had a spell check error. No problem. All right, I better get this Glass Onion review up so it can go up today. I had Danny's getting McNuggets. I'm so jealous, Danny. I wish I was getting McNuggets. All right, I love talking to you guys as always. And as I said, it's always 3 streams a week. Oh, hey, Diana. Nice glasses. So it's always 3 streams a week, so there will be a stream tomorrow. There must be. All right, everybody, I'll see you then. Bye. And lots of reviews dropping in the next 24 hours. Toodles.